Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worthiness and dignity of every person, and where we support each other in our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name is Reverend Kate Wilkinson, and I am so glad that you have joined us this morning. Welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome also to those of you joining us via our live stream. Before we begin our worship service, I have just a few announcements to share. First, we want to thank Susan Ormont for being our choir director today. She's filling in for Mary. Thank you so much, Susan. Next, as we embrace the coming spring, did you hear that, spring? You can come now. As we embrace the coming spring, our winter spirituality series is now over. Sad. But the good news is that a few of our offerings are ongoing. The Monday night meditation group meets every Monday on Zoom at 6 o'clock. Ellen's Qigong on Monday mornings continues. And our Quaker-style worship services were so well received that Kenneth has agreed to continue them on the first Wednesday night of every month. So that means that there will be a Quaker worship this Wednesday night, April 2nd, at 6 o'clock downstairs in Acker Bosworth Hall. Even if you've never come before, you are welcome. We're also starting to look ahead to Easter, so that means that it's time to start bringing in donations of plastic eggs, small wrapped candy, and tiny toys to help the Easter Bunny get ready for our Easter egg hunt on the lawn on April 20th. Last week, we introduced you to our new UUMH action table. Each week at coffee hour, most weeks anyway, we will offer an action that you can take to support our Unitarian Universalist values in the world. This might be by writing a thank you note or signing a petition, by making a donation or calling a senator. Just one thing we can do in the week to make us feel less hopeless and more powerful. Tomorrow is Trans Day of Visibility. So in honor of that, we have devoted our action table today to supporting the first openly transgender member of Congress, Sarah McBride, and to thanking Representative Bill Keating for his strong allyship. I don't know if any of you watched that footage of the atrocious hearing a week or two back when Republican Congressman Keith Self of Texas intentionally misgendered Congresswoman McBride, called her Mr. McBride in front of a room full of people in an attempt to embarrass and belittle her. Keating, our Massachusetts representative, was also at that hearing and stepped in to tell Self that he was out of order and that that was no way to treat a duly elected member of Congress. So, right. So today at coffee hour downstairs, our action table has postcards to send love and support to Sarah McBride, as well as thank you cards to Bill Keating. We will also have information about a vote being taken here in Provincetown at the upcoming town meeting about creating gender-neutral public bathrooms, and we really hope you will support this initiative. Today is our last service in our sermon series based on Brené Brown's idea that we must have strong backs, soft fronts, and wild hearts. So we hope you'll enjoy Wild Hearts today. And please check out the last two services on our YouTube channel if you've missed any of the series. Finally, if you are here in person today, we hope that you will join us downstairs after the worship service ends for coffee and conversation. Let's take a moment now to affirm our Meetinghouse covenant. You can find this printed on the purple laminated cards in your pews, but also I'm just going to say it line by line, so you can repeat each line back to me. Love is the spirit of this meeting house. This is our great covenant. To dwell together in peace. To seek the truth in love. And to help one another. Now, as we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you watching from home to light a candle wherever you are. In this way, we can feel connected even while we are apart. This morning, I invite our worship hosts, Stuart and Liz, to light our chalice for us.
As my nose decoration is not the doing of my wife. It's a little skin cancer issue, and the bandage is coming off tomorrow, but not in time for today. So. Our chalice lighting passage this morning is by Eric Hepburn. We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains.
Won't you please join me now in singing our opening hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. That's hymn 354 in the gray hymnals. It's called We Laugh, We Cry. Let's sing all 4 verses. I read them each thinking I would get rid of one, and I just couldn't choose one to get rid of. So we're going to do all 4. Please rise as you're able.
We need to
You may be seated. I invite you to join me now in a spirit of meditation and prayer. During the prayer or at any time during the service, you're invited to light a silent candle at the table to the right of the pulpit, and there is a journal there to record your thoughts and prayers. After the prayer, we will sing together again, Spirit of Life, which is hymn number 123 in the gray hymnals, but you can also find the words to this song printed on those same purple laminated cards in your pews. We'll sing it first in English and then in Spanish. Our prayer this morning is called Blanket Fort Prayer by H.P. Rivers. Meet me at the altar of banned books, Blanket Fort Sanctuary. We will dance to a chorus of children's laughter. Meet me in the joy, the sorrow beneath the rainbow banner. Bring your questions, cares, concerns. Bring the glitter in your pocket and the sparkle in your smile. Bring your heavy heart, your favorite mug, your very best swear words. Set down your bravest face. Meet me in the heartbeat between what has been and what will be. Meet me in the flicker of our eternal flame. We need not face this moment alone. Amen, and blessed be. I do have a time for all ages planned. It looks like Augie, you are our one child. Would you be willing to come up here and talk with me for a minute? Oh, yes. Oh, you're going to come right up here. Awesome. How are they going to see you? We're going to do it down there, but this is more fun. Do you see the symbol that's on my stole that I'm wearing? What shape is that?
A heart.
It's a heart. Ellen Anthony made this stole for me. Yeah, I love it. Hold my hand while I reach for something. I don't want you to fall. Another person in this congregation is really talented at making things. Liz Calhoun made these. It's called a pocket hug. It's a little heart that you can keep in your pocket. And whenever you look at that, you can remember that you are loved and that you belong and that we are happy you are here every time we see you. And if you're ever lonely, you can feel that soft knit heart in your pocket, and it might feel warm and cozy just like a hug would feel. That's why it's called a pocket hug. And you can just remember that even if you're alone and no one's around, you can feel that pocket hug and know that you are loved, not just by your family, but by your whole community. So it's a symbol of belonging. I hope you like it. All right. Thank you, Augie. Thank you.
Our reading this morning is a responsive reading, which means that I will need your help. You can find it near the back of the gray hymnal. It's number 658. I will read the bold words, and then you may join in reading the italics. So that's responsive reading 658 in the back of your gray hymnals. I'll give you a second to get there. The title is To Risk. To laugh is to risk appearing the fool.
To weep is to risk appearing sentimental.
To reach out for another is to risk exposing our true self.
Our ideas, our dreams before the crowd is to risk loss.
To love is to risk not being loved in return.
To hope is to risk despair.
To try is to risk failure.
To live is to risk dying.
Thank you.
Now is the time when we take a collection for the ongoing support of this Meetinghouse and our shared ministry. Our choir this morning is going to sing a song called Open Wide My Heart by Erica Luckett and Lisa Ferraro, two women who have performed here at the Meetinghouse many times as part of Reverend Christy Hardwick's Inspiration Weekends. Erica has since passed away from cancer, so we sing this in honor of her. As we enjoy this musical reflection by our choir, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org. On and off-site, your offerings will now be gratefully received.
Open wide my heart, 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 open wide my heart.
Thank you. You know, fitting in is easy, Brene Brown says. It's belonging that's hard. Belonging, which requires the courage to be yourself and to let the world see you. That's a much more difficult thing to achieve than fitting in. But the good news is, we are hardwired for belonging. It's part of being human. John Cacioppo, who worked at the University of Chicago and who did some incredible work on loneliness, says that the only real biological advantage we have over most other species is our connection, our belonging, our ability to collaborate, plan, be in relationship with in special ways. And so that desperate need to belong, Renee says, is not a neurosis. It's not an ego-driven thing. The need to belong and be part of something greater than us is who we are in our DNA. The key is to differentiate between fitting in, being liked because we are like everyone else, and belonging, feeling our genuine sense of connection to others and knowing we have a place as our authentic self. Because one is life-giving and one is life-sucking. And it's important that we learn the difference. I told you in the last two sermons that Brene had already adopted the strong back, soft front belief and practice from her mentor, the Buddhist teacher Roshi Joan Halifax. But when she started writing Braving the Wilderness, which is a book about belonging and how difficult belonging is, that's when she added the wild heart. To me, Brene Brown says, not only does strong back, soft front, and wild heart get us through hard times, it is the cornerstone of my actual belonging practice, my true belonging practice, because true belonging is so hard these days. It's not about fitting in or staying quiet or hating the same people that your family or friends hate, even when you don't know them. So what does belonging really mean if it's not those things? When I started looking into belonging, she said, and I started really wanting to understand the bones of it, I discovered something inspiring. At the very heart of belonging is spirituality. Not religion, not dogma, but spirituality. And a very important, specific tenet of spirituality, which I believe cuts across faith and denomination and belief system, the deeply held belief that we are inextricably connected to each other by something greater than us. And that thing that is greater than us is rooted in love and compassion. That there's something bigger than us and that we are connected to each other in a way that cannot be severed. And so when I started to look at belonging, she says, what I realized is that it is a spiritual practice. And it's the spiritual practice of believing in ourselves and belonging to ourselves so fully that we find what's sacred not only in being part of something, but also we find sacred the need on occasion to stand alone in our values, in our beliefs, when we are called to do that as well. To me, she says, this idea of true belonging is a type of belonging that never requires us to be inauthentic or change who we are, but a type of belonging that demands that we be who we are, even when we jeopardize connection with other people, even when we have to say, I disagree, or that's not funny, or I'm not on board. So I think if we're going to make true belonging a daily practice in our lives, Brene says, we're going to need this strong back and soft front and this wild heart. We're going to need both courage and vulnerability as we abandon the certainty and safety of our ideological bunkers and head off into this wilderness. The wilderness is what Brene calls the sensation of stepping out of the safety of the pack, of risking the fitting in to stand up for our beliefs, or sharing our full, undiluted selves with the world. Once we've found the courage to stand alone, to say what we believe and do what we feel is right, Brene says, despite the criticism and fear, we may leave that wilderness, but I believe the wild has marked our hearts. And this is the wild heart piece of true belonging. It doesn't mean that the wilderness is no longer difficult. It just means that once you've braved it on your own, once you've stood up for what you believe in, once you've said, look, I'm going to belong to myself first and betray myself last, that's the mark of the wild heart. And we become painfully aware when our choices stray from that. I think all of us will spend our entire life, she says, constantly strengthening our back, softening our front, and trying to listen to the whispers of our wild heart. The wild heart, man, Brene says, I wish there was a secret handshake for the Wild Heart Club. You know, I love that, the kind of mystery and intrigue, like we would have a special song or a signal. And I love that kind of payoff for being brave and braving the wilderness, some kind of ritual or symbol that says, hey, I'm part of this Wild Heart Club. I've got the stretch marks and the scars to prove it. I know what it means to stand alone and brave criticism and fear and hurt. I know the freedom of belonging everywhere, but nowhere at all. But alas, the wilderness does not issue membership cards. A wild heart is not something you can always see. Instead, the mark of a wild heart is living out the paradox of love in our lives. It's the ability to be tough and tender, excited and scared, brave and afraid, wobbly and full of stubborn hope, to be all these things in the same moment. It's showing up in our vulnerability and our courage, being both fierce and kind. If we were handing out membership cards to the Wild Heart Club, though, I would definitely give one to my colleague, Reverend Sean Neil Barron. He's the UU minister of the Foothills Unitarian Church in Fort Collins, Colorado. He received a letter recently from an angry community member, not a member of the church, but someone in the wider community who is upset about Unitarian Universalism's support for the transgender community. I'm not going to read you the original letter. That nonsense doesn't need any more airtime than it's already getting. But I really want to read you his reply, which Sean had to post online because, of course, the letter writer was too cowardly to include their name. Dear letter writer, Sean wrote, you didn't leave a return address, but if you did, this is what I would say. There is a love wider than fear, deeper than control, queerer than we were ever taught to expect. A love that delights in people becoming more themselves, not less. A love that whispers to every trans and non-binary kid, you are real, you are holy, you are enough. And while many UUs aren't Christian, I can still answer the question you pose, what kind of Christian love affirms trans kids? The kind that actually listens to Jesus. The kind that knows fear isn't faith. The kind that understands love was never meant to be a cage. It was meant to set us free. And here's the truth. A child discovering who they are is not a tragedy. A child being safe enough to tell the truth is not a threat. A child being met with love instead of shame is not abuse. But denying them that love, that is a tragedy. That is a threat to their dignity. That is abuse. So here's my street corner megaphone sermon, he wrote. Life is vast. Love is vaster. And if your faith has to erase someone to feel safe, it's not faith. It's fear. But good news, my dear letter-writing friend. There's a better way. It's big and bright and free, and whether you believe it or not, you are already held in that love. May you know it someday. May you let it in. May you freaking sparkle. Reverend Sean Neil Barron. Unfortunately, there are going to be a lot of opportunities this year and in the coming years for us to enter that wilderness of needing to stick up for our beliefs bravely and loudly, while what sometimes feels like the majority, but probably isn't, is shouting a different message at us, or writing us letters, or challenging our dignity in a public hearing, or trying to change laws or funding or employment opportunities or even our right to be in this country. And so we're going to need to practice having a wild heart. And we're going to need to call upon those strong backs and those tender front too, to live in this tricky time with integrity and hope. And you know what? We're going to need to come up with some version of that secret handshake, by which I mean honoring the people who stand up to power, who dare to be their full selves, thanking them, emulating them, letting them know that they are not actually alone. And you know what else? We're going to need to find the joy in those connections and in that defiance. This is where the queer community can actually be a great teacher to the rest of the world, because we have been doing this for a very long time, creating joyful community where people can be their full selves even in the face of hatred and fear. We know how to do this. A wild heart can straddle the tension of staying awake to the struggle in the world, Brene says, fighting for justice and peace, while also cultivating its own moments of joy. I know a lot of people, she says, myself included, who feel guilt and sometimes even shame about experiencing moments of joy or deep connection when things are hard. And here's the thing, she says, I've been an activist since I was 20, so 3 decades of activism. And when we're out there, whether you're a full-time activist, a volunteer, a new activist, an old activist, we're showing up to make sure that people's basic human needs and civil rights and dignities are upheld. But we're also fighting to make sure that everyone gets to experience what brings meaning to life, love, belonging, joy. These are irreducible needs for all of us, and we can't give people what we don't have. We can't fight for what's not in our hearts and in our experiences. So a wild heart is awake to the pain in the world, and a wild heart beats with gratitude and leans into joy. We hold that tension with the spirit of the wilderness. And it's not always easy or comfortable, and sometimes we struggle with the weight of that pull, but what makes it possible is that front made of love and that back built of courage. Now, this is all beautiful and inspiring, right? Sounds good. Sounds like a goal. But I have to say that along with her cheerleading us to be our full selves, Brene Brown also has a warning for us, a reality check, if you will, that we are our own worst enemies when it comes to having a sense of belonging. We've got to stop walking through the world looking for confirmation that we don't belong, she says. We will always find it because we've made it our mission. We've got to stop scouring people's faces for evidence that we're not enough. We'll always find it because we've made it our goal. I see the reality of this sinking in on your faces. Like, maybe this is ringing a little bit true. Like I said, when it comes to belonging, we are our own worst enemies. But the truth about who we are lives in our hearts, Renee says. And our call to courage right now, next week, next month, next year, next decade, our call to courage is to protect our wild heart against constant evaluation and criticism, especially our own. No one belongs here more than us, she says. Let me repeat that. No one belongs here more than us. A website I follow called Tiny Buddha posted this the other day. Maybe the happy ending is that you fall in love with your life. Eat your favorite foods, admire sunrises and sunsets, pick up the book you've been trying to finish, dance to your favorite songs, buy yourself flowers, bring your mind back to how blessed you are. We're going to get through what's ahead of us, Renee says. We are. And it's going to require us to protect our wild hearts, to love each other, and to stay awkward, brave, and kind. That's kind of her tagline. You know, there are so many things in this world telling us to make ourselves smaller, to fit in, to be like everyone else, to be ashamed, to be scared, to stop talking. But good news, friends. There is a better way. And it's big and bright and free. And whether you believe it or not, you are already held in that love. May you know it someday. May you let it in. May you freaking sparkle. Amen. And blessed be. Our closing hymn is not in our hymnals, but you should find printouts of it in each of your pews. Ellen has some. If you don't have one, you can raise your hand. It's called There Is a Love. Music director Beth Norton wrote this music based on a meditation by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. And we're not going to do it as a round, so don't worry about what those little numbers mean. We're just going to do the two verses. The first verse says, "There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in that love." And the second verse says, "There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love." Brenda's going to play it through for us, but please rise as you're able, for there is a love.
There
may be seated.
It has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. It can be a topic of sharing at coffee hour today or with friends during the week. If you'd like to delve deeper into this topic, we invite you to our midweek Zoom coffee hour. And that's on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. If you are not on the email folk list and need that Zoom link, please let Kenneth Sutton in the office know. Our question this week: what helps you to feel a sense of belonging? What helps you to feel a sense of belonging?
And I'll end with these closing words. Thank you for coming today. At the heart of belonging is a spiritual practice. The practice of remembering that we are part of something larger than ourselves and that we are inextricably linked to that something and to each other. There is a love holding us. May your wild heart remember this. Go in peace.